back to Brews and Bets. My name is Steve Ricciardi. With me, as always, is Tyler Beard. Tyler, how we doing this week?
Doing all right, man. We had a week off last week. Ready to get back into it.
And our special guest this week is the one and only Kyle Marley. No sleeves today either, bro. I appreciate you not bringing sleeves onto the podcast. How we doing?
Hey, I appreciate one of you two being sleeveless as well. Is that for me?
Yeah. I figured I couldn't leave you hanging.
No, I'm doing good.
That's good.
No, I'm doing good.
Ty, I was gonna say, Ty, was that planned or no? Did you do that for Kyle?
No, it wasn't planned. It's like 90 degrees here, so.
Oh yeah, that's true. He's in Cali.
Well, I like it, man. I like it. But
so
no,
Kyle, what do you have?
We're coming off a week off, so we got multiple weeks ahead of us, plenty of chances to make some money, and I'm excited to get some this weekend. So I'm looking forward to talking fights with you guys. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, and just right up front, a lot of people plug at the end, but why don't you just plug what you're doing at the beginning of the show, just so everybody hears it right up front.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm everywhere. It seems like I'm at MMA Odds Breaker. I post all my bets there. I post my fantasy breakdown there. Fantasy breakdown's only $7.99 a week. It's like 40 pages long each week. I go pretty in depth, and then the bets have been crushing as well. I also work at DFS Army. We have all sports over there. If you want to sign up, you can use my promo code Sleeveless, save 20% every month. And I post my article and all my content there as well. And then I sell bets for covers and a few other places, best fight picks. So yeah, you can pretty much find me everywhere. Just find follow my Twitter at BigMarley3, and that's where I post everything.
Yeah, man, you are super busy. As always, the show is sponsored by Eat Clean, bro. So we'll do a retweet contest if anybody wants to get another one of these. Water bottle with a $50 gift card. A couple of the guys that won last week tweeted us, thank you and stuff like that. That was great. The Canelo stuff we sent out 2 weeks ago. He retweeted. Herman Martinez retweeted it. And then this week, this is going to be our second giveaway. It's the program from UFC 229. I was actually covering it for MMA India. So you got Habib on one side, you got Conor on the other side. I believe it's 40-something pages or whatever it is. So any fight fan, it's a great piece of memorabilia. So if you want that, all you have to do is comment. Let's do this. For Kyle, let's do comment sleeveless on YouTube. If you comment sleeveless, you'll be entered, and we'll do the same thing we did last time. Put everybody's name in a hat, pick somebody out, and somebody will win that program. I'll get it sent out. All right, so great podcast this week. We got some people ready to talk fights and some giveaways too. So this is UFC on ESPN Plus 11, Gustafsson versus Smith. And let's get right into this first fight. I kind of like one of these guys here, Danilo Belluardo, I believe is his name, versus Joel Alvarez. On my bookie, Belluardo is -110. Alvarez is -120. Kyle, why don't you do the honors here since you are a guest? Break this fight down for us a little bit.
See, this is one of the fights that I've barely gotten to, but going into Joel Alvarez's first fight, I thought he looked decent on film. We just didn't get to see that in his debut. He went in there and fought a striker, and he's primarily a submission artist, and he didn't even go for any takedowns, and he struck with the striker and he got beat up. So we didn't see what he had to offer there. But again, I kind of think Belluardo's the better striker in this matchup as well. So Joel might need this guy to go for takedowns. He's a better wrestler as well, I believe. So I think it's submission or bust here for Alvarez. And unless he has more to offer on the feet than he did in that first fight, I really just see Belluardo being the more dangerous guy, being able to control where this fight takes place. And if he doesn't get caught in a submission, I think it's his fight to lose. So man, on DraftKings, I haven't even looked at it too much yet. I haven't built many lineups this week, but I always love to target the first fight of the night. So I'll probably be taking some shots on both sides on that, but I'm going to lead Belluardo as my pick, and he might get it done by knockout, but I don't know. It's probably decision is my guess.
Yeah, and there's some significant odds value this week already on DraftKings if anybody's paying attention to that. Ty, what do you think about this first fight?
Yeah, so I hate to disagree with our guest on the first fight of the night, but I think Alvarez is going to submit him. You are right that Belluardo has the better stand-up, but he's primarily a wrestler. that works his ground and pound versus a guy like Alvarez who's so slick on the ground. That's going to be a problem. I don't think that he's confident enough in his stand-up to keep it standing. And his takedown attempts, he just leaves his neck out there. I just see Alvarez being able to grab his neck and choke him out. And I wouldn't be surprised if it happens really early.
Yeah, Ty, I think I'm in agreement with you. I hate to do this to you, Kyle, but I agree with Ty in this first fight. I'm on Alvarez. I think that he's going to have a pretty good opportunity to use his reach, both height and arm reach. He's got a 4-inch height reach and arm reach. I am concerned on the feet because he didn't look great against Ismagulov. He was really uncomfortable with his range against Ismagulov. He gave him way too much. I guess way too much. Way too much cushion.
That being said, Ismagulov is a whole different animal on the feet.
No, he is. But I mean, you have to go into a fight with a game plan to win the fight. You know what I mean? And I just feel like Alvarez let Ismagulov keep him at range and gave him way too much respect in the feet that he had no chance to win the fight. Now, maybe he just wanted the last 3 rounds, and I think it was short notice too, right?
It was, but Ismagulov is a pretty touted prospect.
Yeah, no, he is.
This guy Belluardo, he's not really. I mean, I don't get very excited about him.
No, I don't at all. But I do like Alvarez, and I do like him by submission. I don't know what the prop is. The props aren't out yet on my bookie, but I do like it. Alvarez to win this fight. Second fight, I'll take this one, Ty, and I'll throw you the next one. Devin Clark and Darko Stosic. Right now, this is more or less a pick 'em. Devin Clark is minus 120 on my bookie. Stosic is minus 110. Stosic opened as a bigger favorite. It's kind of flipped, I guess, a little bit. So if it keeps moving in that direction, this is one of those fights that I was just mentioning. It has a lot of odds value on DraftKings already. Clark, I like his game plan, and I know what game plan he's going to bring to this fight. My issue with him is his gas tank. He does gas. He more or less gassed against Rakic late in round 1. Even against Mike Rodriguez, which was his last win. I was at that fight. It was over in New York City. And Rodriguez, for the most part, if he could have got anything off in round 3 when Clark gassed, he probably could have beat him and knocked him out because Clark was exhausted. But he's going to be a grappling heavy. He's going to try to take him down. I think he's going to be able to get Stosic down at some point and maybe win this fight on the card. So I kind of like Devin Clark. I'm not looking at a bet here, but I do like Devin Clark to win this fight. Ty, what do you think here?
Man, I hate Devin Clark.
Yeah.
Just to put it frankly, I mean, I think he has terrible defense. I think that he's kind of like one of the gatekeeper type fighters. Man, his defense is so terrible. I think that Stosic should be able to find a home with his striking. And honestly, if Clark can't get the takedowns and drag this into deeper waters, he's probably going to get knocked out.
Kyle, what do you think here?
Yeah, I pretty much agree. I mean, it's Clark's chin that I have the most problem with, and he's going against a guy whose best attribute is his strength and his power. So yeah, I think, but within 15 minutes, if he just takes one clean one, there's a good chance he goes down. And I really don't understand the whole line movement. I mean, I didn't understand the opener either. Stosic opened at minus 265. That was a little ridiculous. But now Clark's the slight favorite. So I didn't see that coming. I would say Stosic should be a slight favorite if I was going to line the fight, because I think a knockout from Stosic is the most likely outcome in this fight. Clark's best chance is always to use his wrestling, but Stosic's big, powerful dude. He might be able to stuff takedowns just with strength alone. He's going to be throwing out leg kicks and just trying to get that one shot to land. That's what I'm thinking happens. Is he is going to land that shot at some point? Maybe he gets beat up until it happens a little bit, but I just think he's too powerful not to knock out Clark in his weak chin along the course of 15 minutes. So give me Stosic.
Are you guys concerned with Stosic's gas tank at all? I mean, his first fight was Jeremy Kimball, and Kimball, for the most part, just fell on a sword. I think it was like middle of the first round. Stosic, I believe, used to fight a lot of heavyweight, right? So he may be cutting a decent amount of weight. Is gas tank an issue?
Could be. Especially because, I mean, if he's fighting off takedowns, that's going to wear him down more and more. But, man, I don't know. I just don't see this fight taking place at too highly of a pace. And if he can't stuff the takedowns, he's probably going to be screwed, and that he's probably going to lose unless he can just land that shot early in the round, 2 or 3. But, yeah, I don't see him piecing up Clark, in the 3rd round or anything. He's probably going to have to get done in the 1st or 2nd.
Yeah, I'm in agreement there, but Stosic at 205, it might actually play better for his cardio, to be honest. And I mean, it's kind of a question mark, but I think that it'll be over before we even get the chance to make that an issue.
All right, so we may be talking DraftKings later on this one. Next fight, Ty, I'm going to throw this one to you. Duda Santana. Duda Santana, Eduardo Santana. I don't know what her name is on DraftKings. I've seen it 3 different ways. Cowboy Zinha, I believe is her nickname, and Bea Malecki. Bea on my bookie is -120, and Santana right now is -110. So this actually flipped also, this line. I believe Malecki is from Sweden. She has a couple Swedish European championships in Thai boxing. And Santana, is she a sister of Cowboy Oliveira?
I think she's just a training partner.
Oh, is it a training partner? Okay. I didn't know if
I thought she was a sister, actually. I wrote that she was in my write-up, so I hope she was.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I thought I heard somewhere that she was. I don't know if it was an Ariel Helwani show or something like that. Like somebody had said it. But go ahead, Ty. Give us a little breakdown on this one.
Yeah, so I don't understand the odds on this fight because Malecki is not a good fighter. If you watched her on the Ultimate Fighter, she got destroyed. And, I mean, she's 2-0. But the competition that she's faced is people that shouldn't even be in the cage. And Oliveira, she's going to bring the fight to her. I see you got your Brews and Bets cup.
Listen, I got my Brews and Bets cup. We're going to be at the Ring of Combat fights this weekend, cage side. I got my Brews and Bets sweater. I'm ready to go. So, yeah, we're going big time. Go ahead.
So, yeah, I just seen it, so I had to cut off for a minute. But no, I mean, I think that Santana is by far the better fighter at this point in their career. I understand that Malecki has good Muay Thai skills, or has Muay Thai skills. I don't think they're really that good. She has decent elbows, nothing really else to speak of. I think Santana's just going to push the pace and probably win a decision in this fight, but it's probably going to be one-sided.
What do you think here?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a sloppy fight. I don't think either one of these chicks are really UFC ready at all. And the only reason I see that this is on the card is because Bea Malecki is from Sweden. So I think if this is close at all, she's going to get a decision win here. But if it is one-sided, I mean, I don't really see Santana being that good either. So I don't know if it will be completely one-sided that scenario. But it would have to be, I think, for her to get her hand raised there in Sweden. So I'm kind of just going with the hometown crowd. I think this is close to a 50-50 fight like the odds indicate. I'm not impressed with either one of them. But it is in Sweden in a close fight. If they're just going back and forth, I think they're going to give it to the hometown girl. So I'll take Malecki, but no confidence, and it's not really a fight I have much interest in.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I kind of wanted to bet Malecki, and I'll tell you why. You guys are kind of talking me off of this. But Malecki did a good job of using her kicks and really attacking the girl. What fight did I see? Leah Letson at range. And she really pieced up Leah Letson's face pretty good with the kicks and the punches. I was pretty impressed with it, to be honest with you. And I think that she'll be able to stay outside of Santana's punching range. Santana doesn't do a lot of kicking. She's kind of a rock'em sock'em robot. Her punches are kind of inside and just throws back and forth. This is going to play out on the feet. It's going to be a striking match, and I think Malecki can use that Thai boxing to win this. So I kind of do like Malecki here. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. You guys are talking me out of it with your breakdowns. CG actually just messaged me, so he may be on in a few minutes in case he breaks in. Nick Hein and Frank Camacho. Kyle, I'll throw this one back to you. Nick Hein on my bookie is -115. Camacho on my bookie is -115 also. So this has turned into a pick'em. I believe Hein was the favorite earlier in the week. So who do you think wins this decision? Because this decision is -240 prop right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I do think it will be a decision fight. And I mean, all the numbers point to Camacho getting the win, I think. On the feet, he lands 6.23 strikes per minute, and Hein lands 2.54. Camacho lands at 45% compared to Hein's 33%. Camacho almost lands twice as many takedowns as well at a higher accuracy. I mean, everything on paper says that he should win a decision here. The worry is that it's on short notice. It's back down at 155. Maybe his gas tank isn't there. If he can't put up a full 3 rounds, maybe he can't win 2 of them. But I think round 1 and 2 are his just from volume alone. And I think Hein would probably likely win round 3. So give me Camacho 29-28. The chin's a little worrisome for Camacho, but I just don't see Hein being that dangerous of a guy to really test that too much. So this comes down to volume for me, and Camacho's going to be the guy pushing forward, throwing at a higher pace. So I think he gets it done.
Yeah, Tyler, I do agree with what Kyle's saying there, more or less to a T. So what do you think here?
Yeah, the big thing for me in this fight is how Camacho's going to be on weigh-in night. He struggled making weight his last time at 155.
Yeah, he did.
Now he's on short notice. So I kind of want to wait and kind of reserve judgment. Skill for skill-wise, I think that he should come in as the better fighter. But if he doesn't make weight, I'm not going to put any money behind him. I know that it probably by rights shouldn't matter too much, but being that it's a short notice fight, I'm personally just going to take the approach that I'm going to wait till Friday and see. And if the line is still close and he makes weight without an issue, I'll probably take Camacho in this.
Yeah, I think a few years ago when Nick Hein fought James Vick, I think we put a lot in Nick Hein's cap for that performance. And I think at this point the issue is that he really hasn't showed it the last 2 fights. I mean, Davi Ramos put a clinic on him on the ground, and then Damir Hadjovic basically pieced him up on the feet in his last 2 fights. Again, Camacho, yeah, Ty, you're 100% right. Against Damian Brown, I believe I wrote down he weighed in at 160 for his last fight at 155. The fights that he's lost recently and got knocked out against Jeff Neal, that was at 170. So who knows if he's even going to make weight and how he looks. But he's a big puncher. He's definitely going to have more power in this, and I do like him. So, yeah, you're right. Maybe wait for those weigh-ins. I'll take this next fight, and I'm interested to see what you guys think about this. Stevie Ray on my bookie is plus 170, and Leonardo Santos on my bookie is minus 210. I think Santos is going to beat Stevie Ray everywhere in this fight, and if it does happen to go to the ground, I think that Santos is going to be able to submit him. My concern is that he hasn't. I believe it's a 31-month layoff, so it is a concern that he's been out for so long, and he's beat some really, really good guys. Kevin Lee finished him, I believe. I didn't write down exactly how it was. Martins, he attacked him with multiple body and leg kicks. Anthony Rocco Martin, Ty, I know you're not a big fan of Rocco, but for the most part, I mean, he has been doing his business real well recently with some of his finishes and some of his wins. So I think if Santos is the same guy, the problem is at 39 years old, is he the same guy? I don't see a ton from Stevie Ray. He's more or less a decision fighter. I think Santos can finish this if it goes to the ground. And again, I found an article on MMA fighting. I was trying to figure out why he was out so long. He basically said he had like a little bit of an injury, and then he just couldn't get a fight. And it's a little surprising to me that there was just a card in Brazil, and they didn't put him on that card in Brazil 2 weeks ago. But it is what it is. Ty, what do you think here? You want Santos, or is this a no play for you?
Yeah, I'm probably gonna sit this one out just because the odds and him being off so long. But Santos should win this fight. I was a big fan of Stevie Ray coming into the UFC, but he just hasn't really performed when he faces decent competition. And I think this is another one that is gonna kind of lean towards Santos's way. I think that he has the advantage on the feet, and if it goes to the ground, he has the advantage. So that being said, he's been off for so long. I don't really know how. I really don't know what fighter he is right now. So I'm just gonna personally sit this one out and take a wait and see approach.
Kyle, what do you think in this one?
I agree with the pick. I'm picking Santos. But on the feet, I think it's a lot closer of a fight. I think it's, close to a 50-50 fight on the feet. It's just if it hits the ground, that's Santos's ball game. And I think that's why the line is so high, is they're banking on him hit the ground at some point. And I think he probably gets a submission if he can get it there. I'm just not so sure he's going to go for that a whole lot. Not sure if he'll be successful with it. But he has a shot on the feet as well. So I'm definitely going to pick Santos. I just think the line's a little bit high. I would have capped him like minus 170, something like that. But, yeah, give me Santos as the pick.
Yeah, I would definitely like that line to be at minus 170. It actually drove his DraftKings price up real high too, which makes it a tough play if he doesn't get it finished. Let's get into this next fight. And, again, I'll take this one again. I want to throw you guys better fights. Tonya Evinger and Lina Lansberg. And I think this is pretty straightforward. In my opinion, I think Lansberg's only on this card because she's Swedish. I think Evinger is better than her. I was a little concerned with Tonya just because of her age, and then I saw that Lina's 37 years old also, so they're both 37 years old. I was a little surprised. Lansberg looks younger when on film, so I was surprised to see she was 37. But I just think Tonya is better. She's definitely better on the ground. I think she's going to be able to beat her up on the feet. I think Lansberg really does her best work in the clinch, and Evinger is pretty, can hold her own there also. So, for the most part, Tanya's losses have been to girls who I think are pretty good, and Lina just really hasn't had a whole lot of success. Her wins against Pudilova, who can't seem to beat anyone, even though I do kind of like her a little bit, and Gina Mazzani, who, again, if you're losing to Gina Mazzani, you shouldn't be in the UFC at this point. So, Ty, what do you think? Same.
What did you say the odds were on this?
You know what I did? I don't think I did say. My bookie is minus 285 right now for Tonya Evinger, and Lina is on my bookie is plus 225.
Yeah, I think that Evinger is going to win this fight. I think she's eventually going to get it to the ground, and she has a chance to submit her. But our worker ground and pound. But at those odds, I don't know if I trust her that much, being that she hasn't fought in 8 months and she's getting up there in age. She didn't look good versus Cyborg, yet nobody really does. Aspen Ladd destroyed her. So it's kind of hard to tell how far she's decreased since her Invicta run. And for that reason, I'm going to probably sit this one out. I'm not going to put my money behind it.
Kyle, you got any plays here? You like anybody?
I think Evinger's definitely the rightful favorite. Like you said, at some point she's going to get this fight to the ground and likely win with ground and pound or submission. I think she does get a finish, but Lansberg's only shot is just to keep it standing, or maybe a clinch fight against the cage, something like that. Cut her open with elbows, get a doctor stoppage, but those just are not highly likely outcomes at all. So I got to go with Evinger, and I think she gets it done round 1 or 2.
So we were just joined by the one and only Chris Gray. I don't know if anyone sees him a little sideways there. Chris, I don't know if you realize, but you're sideways right now.
Yeah. I don't have my goddamn normal mic and headphones. How am I right now? That good?
Yeah, you're good. You're good. Say hello to everybody, bro.
All right, what's going on, fellas? Just got home from work.
You want the next fight?
Drink some beer.
We're starting a new fight right now. You want this one?
You know what? Big Marley, what's going on, man? Thanks for joining.
Hey, what's up, man? Good to see you.
Likewise.
Thanks for hopping on with us.
Right. Sorry I'm late, guys. Hey, you know what? Just go ahead and analyze the other fight without me.
All right, Ty, I'm going to throw this one right back to you. It's Sergey. I'm going to screw up this last name. So here it is. Sergey Khandozhko. Right now on my bookie, he's minus 165. And Rostem Akman on my bookie is plus 145. He's the local guy in Sweden. Fought 3 weeks ago, and I believe he just got this fight like a day or two ago, if that's correct. So, Ty, what do you think here?
Yeah, I think they're kind of handing out free money here at plus 145 for Akman. I think that both of them have terrible takedown defense, but if this fight stays standing, Akman's going to piece him up. And everything that I've seen of him, he looks pretty good. He's very controlled on on the feet, and he's pretty aggressive. Sergey is going to try to look for takedowns. His wrestling is decent, nothing great. His grappling is okay. But the biggest advantage that Akman has is his striking. He shouldn't have a problem. I think that he's going to piece him up, and I'm going to be playing plus 145 all day.
So Ty, you're not worried about Akman's body hair? He's got some legit body hair. I don't know if you watched some of those.
Oh no, that's going to help him be real slick to avoid those takedowns.
Oh, is that what it is? All right, Kyle, what do you think here? You on Akman? The guy doesn't know how to manscape, but whatever.
Yeah, it's the hairiest guy I've ever seen, I think. But no, I really haven't seen a whole lot on him. So Tyler's kind of making me think I need to go and watch a lot more before I make an official pick, because I was picking Sergey. I was just more impressed with what I have seen from him. I think he's more dangerous, a lot more experienced, and he's not taking this fight on a week's notice. So I was going with Sergey, but this is a fight that I've done the least amount of research on, so I'm not really sure. I'm definitely going to have to look more into it now, though.
All right, CG, what do you think here?
Yeah, I agree with Marley on this one. I thought Sergey was more experienced, had more outs. He has the better inside the distance prop at plus 153, but Ty seems pretty confident with Akman here, so maybe I need to do some more research.
Yeah, I can kind of see this fight going either way. I see that both guys have an opportunity and have a path. I kind of liked how much Akman, he kind of envelopes you on the ground. He kind of, just keeps after you on the ground. And I think that he can just win rounds that way. So I kind of like Akman by decision.
So just to add another little something in there, in his amateur career, Akman is a 2-time European champion.
Yeah, he is.
And 2-time Swedish champion.
Yeah, and again, he's
home fight.
Sweden. Yeah, no, he's from Sweden. It's a home fight. That's kind of why I like him. I think he's going to be able to get this fight to the ground and kind of grind them out. I watched a couple of those European Championship fights, and I agree.
And I think being that it's this late of a notice, I don't understand why they would put him on the card if they didn't expect him to win.
Interesting.
In a hometown fight.
It's an interesting take. And again, it's if you have a strong play like Ty does, take advantage of it. So CG, let me throw you this fight. Introduce Daniel Teymur. On my bookie, he's plus 115, and Soon Bin Joe on my bookie is minus 145. And I believe that line is closing up just a little bit as the week has gone on. CG, so what do you think?
I like Bin Joe in this fight. He's 9-0, won all 9 of his fights inside the distance. 5'11", 72-inch reach compared to Daniel Teymur, who stands at 5'5", has a 69-inch reach. Daniel Teymur is 0-3 in the UFC, was finished in all 3 of his losses to Henry, Arce, and Fishgold. For being a featherweight, he doesn't have good cardio. He does have some power. I know he rocked Danny Henry a couple times in his first UFC fight, but I really like these Korean fighters. Very stoic, very tough. Was watching one of Bin Joe's fights where he overcame a lot of adversity. I want to say it was first 2 rounds, was getting just broken down with leg kicks, came back to win the fight. And, Daniel Teymur, I just don't think is UFC caliber. He doesn't have good grappling at all. Bin Joe can strike. He can grapple. I want to say he has 5 wins. Yeah, 5 wins by TKO, 4 wins by submission. Just has more outs. Teymur's going to quit. I know it's in front of his hometown crowd in Sweden, but I definitely like Bin Joe to win inside the distance.
All right, Kyle, what do you think here?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's that the first 3 minutes of the fight that Bin Joe's going to have to just weather that storm. And if he could do that, I think he just takes over. Teymur likely gasses late just because he's going to put so much out early. He's going to bring the fight, that's for sure. That's why he's getting another shot here after 0-3 as his UFC start. But I was impressed with what I saw from Bin Joe, and I just think he's the overall better fighter. So as long as he can weather that storm, this fight's his, and I think he ends the fight in the second round or so.
All right. Big Ty, what do you think?
Yeah, so this fight kind of confuses me. I think Bin Joe is a solid prospect, but he's only faced 2 guys that have a winning record. So that's a little bit concerning for me. Teymur's been in there with some studs, and he's 6-3, he's 0-3 in the UFC, but everybody that he's faced in the UFC besides his first fight, it has been solid competition. So this is a huge step down for him in fighting Benjo. Man, I don't know if I'm going to take anybody in this fight. I might just take a wait and see approach with Benjo to see how his game translates versus somebody that's at UFC, not UFC caliber, because I don't really think Teymur is, but somebody that's been in there with UFC competition. It's a huge step up for him, so I want to see how that plays out. That being said, if you do like Benjo, the line has been closing. I would wait until around fight time to place the bet if you're going to do that.
Yeah, it's interesting because I kind of agree with what CG was saying before with the leg kicks. I noticed that on film, and Daniel Teymur, that's part of his game. That's part of his offensive attack is those leg kicks. So I kind of like Teymur at the underdog price, but then again, 100% he gasses. So I don't know. I think there's going to be a fade for me. I'm not going to play anybody here, but that's kind of my breakdown of this fight. I think that Teymur, as Kyle said early in the fight, I think he's going to be fine, especially if he can hurt him with those leg kicks. But again, the fight that the guy, I think his name was Hein, that Hein was beating Benjo. I believe Benjo actually knocked him out in like the third or the fourth round, even though he was getting killed with those leg kicks. So, Ty, I feel like I should throw this one to you. You had a good take on Damir Hadzovic last time out. On my bookie, he's minus 175 right now. That line has been pretty steady. And Christos Giacos right now on my bookie is plus 145. So what do you think about these two guys?
Yeah, man, I'm not really sure what I think about this one because Gallegos, he doesn't really like to engage on the feet. So I kind of think that Hadzovic might press the action a little bit. If he can clip him, he should have the power to knock him out. My concern in this fight is Gallegos is going to be going for takedowns. Hadzovic is pretty terrible at takedown defense, only getting 31%. I'm kind of going back and forth on it right now. I think I'm leaning towards Hadzovic, but there is that threat of the takedown that's kind of concerning me from going all in on here.
All right. Kyle, what do you think here?
Yeah, striker versus grappler. If Hadzovic can stuff the takedowns, he's the better striker. He's going to be landing the harder shots at the higher volume. He's probably going to win a decision if that's the case. But if he can't stuff takedowns, then Giagos is live in this fight because Hadzovic's weakness is being put on his back and not being able to do much when he's put there. So, I don't know. I think it's a fight to really be confident in either side, I think. But I'm going to go with Hadzovic here. Maybe on DraftKings, like this is a spot to go with an underdog, though, because Giagos is live, and the way he is live is through takedowns, and that's what we want on on DraftKings. So maybe that's how I'll get an investment into this fight. Just go a little bit heavier on him over there. But I don't think this is a fight I'll be looking to bet.
Yeah, you guys already talked about all of my talking points. The one thing I have in bold letters is takedown defense is my only concern. So I do like Hadzovic, but his takedown defense. CG, what do you think here?
Yeah, they basically stole all my points. I was going to reference the 31% takedown defense. I don't feel confident enough to bet this fight straight up, but in DraftKings, my preferred play would definitely be Giagos because when you look at Hadzovic's last few fights, Polaris didn't take him down at all. Nick Hein did not take him down at all. He won both of those fights. And then Alan Patrick took him down 9 times.
9 times, yeah.
Marcin Held took him down 4 times. And although Hadzovic won that fight, he won that fight with what, like 7 seconds left in the fight or something. So if Giagos can get the fight to the ground, and I mean, we have no reason to believe that he can't, then, you know, I like Giagos to win a grappling-based decision. So I think it's dog or pass for me.
Yeah, that's a good call there. Kyle, let's throw this one right back to you. This is going to be a hell of a fight. This is my favorite for one of the fight of the night, bonuses after this. Makwan Americani on my bookie is minus 110, Mr. Finland. Definitely has the best Tapology picture. I don't know if you've seen it. It's pretty legendary. 3 blondes with the martinis. It's pretty impressive. And Chris Fishgold on my bookie right now is -120. So what do you think here?
Yeah, this is actually my free bet of the week. I just put it in. Chris Fishgold -112 for 1 unit. So I like Fishgold here, and it's more on the ground. It's pretty 50-50 here. I think Marcon's the better wrestler, but Fishgold is going to be the guy pushing forward more and putting it against the fence, and he can get takedowns that way as well. So I can see him being the one on top more often as well. And if this fight's stuck on the feet because they don't want to go to the ground and mess with the other skills there, then I think it's Fishgold's game as well. He's just going to be fighting at the higher pace, and I'm not sure Marquand can deal with that for 3 rounds and win 2 of them or more. I don't know. Man, I would really love to see this fight take place on the ground. I think this is going to be super fun if it's just a grappling-based fight. And from what I've seen, and Marquand takes so much time off here and there. Who knows how dedicated he is to this sport. Fishgold, he's in it to win it for sure. I just like what I've seen from him, and I think he's going to be wearing Marquand out and maybe even pick up a submission of his own. If not, then a volume-based decision.
Yeah, and just to speak on what you just said, how serious he takes this. Marquand did a pretty good interview on Ariel Helwani this week. Ariel did his show, I guess, on Tuesday this week because of the holiday. And he is at SBG. He did do 2 months ago. He went over to SBG, so he did do that. And he seems like he's pretty dedicated from the interview. Again, Ty always tells me all the time, stop listening to these interviews. But with that being said, Ty, let me throw it to you. What do you think here?
Yeah, don't listen to any interviews. Don't watch the promo shit before the fight. That's just gonna mess up your mind. Fishgold's the better fighter in this fight. He's more aggressive on the feet, more polished on the feet. If it goes to the ground, it'll be interesting. Either one of these guys could take the other one there. Fishgold got taken down by Teymur, who has terrible wrestling. And Marquand only has, I think, a 55% takedown defense, and Fishgold is a pretty good offensive wrestler. So, I mean, I think that Fishgold has more ways to win the fight. I wouldn't be surprised if he knocked him out, but I think that siding with him is pretty safe at -120.
CG, what do you think here? Maracani is very difficult to hit on the feet.
I'm not as confident as these guys, but when you go back and look at Americani's last few fights, when he faces guys where he has the definitive wrestling advantage, that's where he wins. Andy Ogle, well, he knocked Ogle out, but Follin, Wilkinson. His last loss was against Arnold Allen. Americani had 4 takedowns. Allen had 3. Allen had the striking advantage, and that's where he won the fight. Jason Knight had the striking advantage over Americani, but Americani took him down 3 times and won a very, very close decision. So this is a fight where the wrestling is going to negate itself. Fishgold has the edge when it comes to pressure, overall toughness, and it can make the case that he's the more fluid striker. So I do think that Fishgold has more outs, but I'm not confident enough to bet the fight.
But has Americani faced anybody that's still in the UFC? His level of competition that he's faced is really not great.
I mean, Arnold Allen to a decision.
Yeah.
That was a close fight.
Yeah, he's 4-1 in the UFC. His only loss was to Arnold Allen.
Yeah, and that's the only guy that's still in the UFC, right?
Maracani's going to have a 3-inch height advantage, 4-inch reach advantage. I didn't write down all his other opponents. That's the fight that I watched.
Well, because Jason Knight's not in the UFC anymore.
No, he's losing bare knuckle fights these days.
Yeah, Follin, Ogle, they're not in. Is Wilkinson still in?
I don't remember him.
No. I want to say he was from the Ultimate Fighter.
Yeah. So I mean, I think that his record is kind of padded with not great fighters.
Well, at least we can agree that he has one of the best Tapology pictures. So, CG, let me throw it right back to you. Let's get your take on Jimi Manuwa and Alexander Rakic. We got 3 fights to go. We're flying right through this. So, Manuwa on my bookie is +180. Rakic is minus 220. And this is going to be Rakic leg kicks all day. Is he just going to chop Manuwa down? What do you think, CG?
This is a tough fight to assess because, I mean, what Rakic are we going to get? Are we going to get the Rakic that fought Justin Ledet, who looked like a world beater? Or are we going to get the Rakic that was dropped by Devin Clark, stunned? So
maybe even twice. He may have been dropped twice there.
He may have been, yeah. I mean, I was very high on Rakic in his last fight in DraftKings, and luckily he won first round KO. But still, I mean, he had me sweating. And, going from Burroughs to Ledet to Clark to Jimi Manuwa, who's been a staple in the top 10 of 205, I think it's going to be a closer fight than what people think. I know Manuwa's coming off 3 losses, KO'd by Ozdemir, just out-hustled by Blachowicz, and then knocked out in devastating fashion by Thiago Santos. But Manuwa has such a powerful technical left hook. I mean, he can drop you at any time. I believe he trains in Sweden with Gustafsson and Alir Latifi and all those other guys. So in conclusion, I think Rakic is going to win the fight. He has more volume, 5.3 strikes per minute, those devastating leg kicks. He even has the grappling advantage. But man, Manuwa's tough. He's powerful striker, and the fact that Rakic looks so chinny in his last fight has me concerned. But when you really assess the fight top to bottom, grappling, striking, take everything into consideration, I give the edge to Rakic, and I think I will parlay him with another fighter.
I really do like that there's 3 light heavyweight fights at the top of this card. I didn't know that Jimi worked out with these guys. I knew Latifi and Gustafsson worked out together, but I didn't know that Jimi was in there too. That's very interesting. Kyle, let's throw it right back to you. What do you think here?
Yeah, Manuwa's definitely the best striker Rakic has ever faced. And if this was like 5 years ago, I'd probably take Manuwa to win, but he's 39 now, definitely on the downslope of his career, if not towards the end, and Rakic is on the way up. I think it would be smart of Rakic to take him down, especially early, wear him out a little bit, because there's no worries with Manuwa on his back. You're worried about the knockout, and he could definitely get it. He's got power. He's a great striker. It's just I have to lean with Rakic here. He's a better overall fighter, and if he wants to use the wrestling like he did against Ledet, I think it's a real easy path to victory. So, yeah, give me the favorite.
Yeah, and even in that fight against Thiago Santos, man, he got folded up there, Ty. What do you think here about Manuwa and Rakic?
Yeah, Rakic has really good defense. He just doesn't get hit with a lot of shots, and I think that versus Manuwa, that's kind of key, because if Manuwa touches him, CG alluded to how chinny he was last fight. If Manuwa catches him with the same punch, he's probably going out. Say what you want about Manuwa at this point in his career, but he still has the power. That being said, Rakic should be able to win this fight. But CG, I actually have one play that you could add to your big parlay, and fight does not go to decision at minus 285. I mean, one of these guys is probably going out.
Yeah, it's not a bad.
I would think so. Yes, definitely.
So I'm siding with Rakic. I don't know if I'm going to bet it at the current line.
You know what, though? These ITD props are pissing me off. I had Davi Ramos inside the distance, and freaking Austin Hubbard went all 15. That prick.
Yeah, he was in just about all of my lineups, and Ramos couldn't get that finish. That was.
I think I'm laying off the ITD lines for a while.
All right, so maybe he's not adding that to the crazy parlay this week, Ty. But Ty, let's throw it right back to you. I'm kind of interested to get your take on Volkan Ozdemir and Alir Latifi. I feel like you have a good take on Latifi here. My bookie is minus 125. Ozdemir right now is the favorite, and Latifi on my bookie is minus 105. Former Swedish national team wrestler. So, what do you think here?
Yeah, so actually, somebody asked me about this on Twitter a few days ago. Give me a minute, and I'll actually just put what I said, because I actually broke down the fight on Twitter for somebody. So go to somebody else real quick, and then I'll
All right, go ahead, Kyle. Why don't you give us your breakdown on this one?
Yeah, so I think if this fight was, like 2 years ago before Volkan took 3 losses and was super hyped up, he'd be over minus 200 favorite here. I think he is the better striker. Both these guys are dangerous. They have power to put the other one out with one shot. But Volkan won't be landing any takedowns. Latifi's never been taken down. If there are takedowns in this fight, it'll be from Latifi. But he only lands them at 32% accuracy. Volkan stuffs them at 75%. So I think this fight is mostly going to play out on the feet, and I think Volkan's overrated. His striking's not as good as everyone thought it was, but I do think he's the better striker here. And in a fight that I think will take place on the feet, I'll take him to get the win. So I don't know if he gets it done by knockout or decision, but I think he'll be the one throwing more shots and just controlling where the fight takes place on the feet. And he could knock Latifi out, but he's tough. So I guess I'm going to go with decision as my official pick for Volkan.
Volkan by decision. All right. Ty, go ahead. Give us that breakdown.
Yeah, so I actually replied to somebody on Twitter. I said that at the moment I'm leaning towards Ozdemir. He's a more technical striker, more aggressive. Slightly worried about Latifi's counters and Ozdemir's lack of striking defense and the takedowns. At the current odds, I wouldn't bet the fight. So, and I still believe that. This is one I'm just going to sit back and watch because I think both of these guys have path to victory, even though I'm leaning Ozdemir.
All right, CG. Everyone thinks this one is as close as the odds say. What do you think?
Oh, man. If you want to scratch your eyes out, go back and watch Latifi versus Corey Anderson. Anderson landed 40 strikes against Latifi's 33. That fight was freaking terrible. Awful. Latifi gassed out bad in that third round, too. So if that happens again against Ozdemir, then I think Ozdemir could potentially get a late finish. But overall, I agree with these other guys that, Ozdemir has the volume advantage at 4.7 strikes per minute. Latifi lands at a very low rate, 2.3 strikes per minute, just, predominantly a counter striker. He does have the takedown advantage, but, like Kyle mentioned, 32% accuracy. Ozdemir's takedown defense is decent at 75%. And I'm not going to lie, I actually thought Ozdemir beat Dominic Reyes in that last fight.
I was going to mention that, but I agree with you.
Yeah. So, Ozdemir's back's against the wall. He's coming off 3 losses. He's the younger fighter. Latifi's, 36 years old or will be 36 years old soon. So at this point, he had a nice little winning streak going, but I just don't see it happening. I think Ozdemir has more outs, and I like Ozdemir to win the fight, probably by decision, but maybe late finish, like I said before. And Kyle, I got to ask you, what do you think about Ozdemir and DraftKings?
See, I haven't even built lineups yet this week, so I really don't know too much on the DraftKings side. But if he's not going to get the knockout, he's not going to pay off his price. So you're really banking on the knockout, so it's not a play I'd go heavy on. But since I do like him to win, maybe he's a decent cash game play because I feel even with a decision, if he gives you like 65, 70 points, we could take that in cash. It's just not going to win us $25K. So
right
100% banking on the knockout. And then with Latifi, he's the one that would be going for takedowns, and he could also get a knockout as well. So I think maybe he would actually be the better GPP play. But I don't know. It might be a fight to fade on DraftKings, really.
Yeah, and again, I agree with CG what you said there. I thought that Dominic Reyes lost that fight against Volkan. I actually bet pretty heavily on Reyes in that fight and was happy that he won. But, I thought Volkan won that fight. So
it was pretty misleading because Ozdemir wasn't complaining about the result. But then when I went back and rewatched the fight, I was just like, striking was close. Ozdemir had 1 takedown, but, I don't know.
I thought he did more damage, too. But
I agree.
All right, Kyle, we're up to the main event. I'm going to send it back to you for the main event breakdown. Aleksander Gustafsson and Anthony Smith. Does Anthony Smith pull off an upset here? This would be his biggest win at light heavyweight. What do you think here, Kyle?
Nah, I just don't see how it happens. I think Gustafsson's the better fighter everywhere, and it's in Sweden. So if this fight's close at all, they're still going to give it to Gustafsson because it's in Sweden. But I just don't see it being close. I think Gustafsson's going to be better on the feet. He's going to be the one controlling where the fight goes. Smith is going to need a knockout or a submission to win, but he's not going to be able to get the takedowns. He's going to need to get the submission off his back. And Gustafsson hits harder, so I think he's more likely to get the knockout as well. So I wouldn't say Smith is drawing dead here, but I like Gustafsson a good bit, and I think he can dominate this fight for as long as it lasts, really. So give me Gustafsson. I think he probably ends it by TKO, ground and pound at some point in the fight, maybe like third, fourth round, something like that.
All right, Ty. We Gustafsson on my bookie is minus 290, and Anthony Smith on my bookie is plus 230. So what do you think here?
Yeah, I think Gustafsson. The first round or two, he's gonna probably pick him apart on the feet. I don't know if he's gonna land anything major on the feet, but I think eventually he's gonna get this fight to the ground and finish ground and pound. Outside of a puncher's chance, Anthony Smith just shouldn't be in there with this level of competition. He rose through the ranks really fast, but he beat fighters that were shot. And it's kind of like what I said when he fought John Jones. He shouldn't be in there. He's not that high level of competition, and he has a strong punch, but really that's it. Other than that, he's not technically sound. He's not good on the ground. Gustafsson's, it's just like Kyle said, Gustafsson's better in every single aspect of the fight except maybe power. And I mean, right now you could get odds that this fight does not go to decision at minus 185, and I feel that's pretty safe because Gustafsson is going to finish in a 5-round fight, and if he doesn't, it's because he got knocked out. So I'm probably going to play that 185 line and maybe put Gustafsson in some parlays.
All right, and again, Ty, Anthony Smith gave a great interview on Ariel Helwani's podcast today. Yesterday. So take that for what it's worth. I'm all over Gustafsson here.
Man, you know what? From the standpoint of this podcast, I'm sure glad you're getting a promotion at work because you need to stop watching all these interviews.
I'll have more time now in my office to check out some of the podcasts. So, CG, what do you think here? Gustafsson, is he a slam dunk in your parlay here?
So I have to ask, the interview that you saw with Ariel, was that the one where he talked about not wanting to accept this fight, not wanting to fight until January? Is it the same one?
Yeah, kind of, but it was just on his show yesterday.
Okay, so I think I saw an interview that was done before when he first accepted the fight with Gustafsson, and yeah, he just sounded completely deflated. Said he didn't want to get back in the octagon as soon as he did. He wanted a longer layoff to spend more time with his family, and he was just kind of a Debbie Downer, seemed completely deflated. And I don't like to get in the narratives too much either, but I don't know. One thing that concerns me about Gustafsson is, like, what's his motivation? Like, does he want to fight John again for a third time? I mean, John systematically destroyed him in that last fight. Worked the legs, worked the body, took him down, third round finish. I mean, at least Smith won all 5 rounds. I'm not trying to get into MMA math here, but I don't think it's going to be as close as people think. The last time that Anthony Smith was finished due to strikes, which, or head strikes, I should say, was 2011, back when he was fighting for Strikeforce. Thiago Santos finished him with a body kick. But bottom line, the dude is tough. And the longer the fight goes, I think it's going to favor Smith. I think, Smith doesn't have much volume, strikes at just over, I want to say, 3 strikes per minute. But the thing about Gustafsson, if you look at his other fights against John Jones, against John Jones and DC, where it went into those championship rounds, he starts to fade. I don't think Smith is going to fade. I don't know, man. I'm not betting Gus at minus 325 or, I forgot what the MyBookie line was, but honestly, it's dog or pass for me.
So, CG, I have a question. Do you think that Jones could have finished him by strikes?
Why didn't he? Why take that risk?
I'll answer that one. I really do think that Anthony Smith just wanted to go to the distance against John Jones. I really think that's what he wanted to do.
Well, I think that if Jones would have took some more risks, I think that he could have finished that fight easily.
I mean, when you look at Anthony Smith, I mean, he lands at 3.09 strikes per minute. He's not a wrestler. He's a counter striker. He hits with a lot of power. I mean, towards the end of that fight, I mean, John looked pretty gassed. I mean, John took him down. I mean, Smith lasted 25 minutes against him and looked like he could have won a couple more rounds. One thing that Anthony Smith has, he has cardio for days. He has power late into the fight. He overcomes adversity. And I just think he ruins people's morales. They give him, like, you look at the fight against Sanchez. I mean, Sanchez gave him everything that he had. Gassed out, and Smith took advantage of the opportunity. And Gus, I mean, I don't know. Like I said, what's his motivation at this point? What's he fighting for? I just think, Smith has motivation. I think, he has a lot of things going for him. And not to mention, every time I bet against Anthony Smith, it comes back to haunt me. I don't know. We shall see. I know that, Gustafsson is the better striker, more technical. He's got that uppercut, which is phenomenal, which, beat the crap out of Glover Teixeira with that. But I don't know. I'm not betting against Lionheart.
All right. The one thing that I would say, CG, based on what you just mentioned, Gustafsson, of all places, is fighting in Sweden. So the fact that this is where that fight is, 32 years old, I think that he's going to just headline a couple more cards in Europe before he calls it a day. And the thing with Anthony Smith that doesn't make a lot of sense, and I agree, if you want to play the narrative game, 100%. In the Ariel Helwani interview, he did mention he kind of wanted to be back home by his kids. He didn't want to leave his kids and everything. But he looks like he's game for this fight. I think he kind of got by the skin of his teeth in his win against Vulcan. I think Vulcan won most of the beginning of that fight, and I think Vulcan gassed, and that's why Anthony Smith was able to get the best of him. For the most part, Santos hurt him pretty bad a few times in that fight. I think Smith wound up on top, and then Santos was able to switch that around real quick. But he needs to be able to take enough damage to basically find his shot. And I think early in this fight, Gustafsson's going to jab his face off. If he can take the damage from the jabs early, then maybe in rounds 2 or 3, he'll be able to hit him with something. But I think that Gustafsson is looking good for a late finish or a decision. So that's my official pick: Gustafsson, late finish or a decision. So
one more thing to add real quick. In his fight against Glover Teixeira, Gustafsson would get his knocks in. He wasn't like just moving out of the way. He was sprinting out of the way like a goddamn coward. Then he would engage again and sprint away. I don't think Anthony Smith is going to let him get away with that.
He's kind of done that his whole career, though.
Yeah. I don't know.
But again,
Glover's too classy. He didn't do anything. He didn't say anything. I think Anthony Smith, if you watch him, I mean, he engages in the mental warfare a little bit like he did against Hector Lombard. I don't know. I think he might have the mental advantage in this fight. I don't know. I like Anthony Smith. I really do.
All right. So, Ty, I was going to throw it back to you. Just tell us what you're doing this week with Prize Picks.
The same thing every card. I do the projections for my Prize Picks. So if you disagree with anything that I say, come take our money.
Yeah, and we got the Quant Edge. I'm actually going to be leaving the Quant Edge shortly. With a little bit more to do at work. We will be doing this podcast, Brews and Bets, but the Quant Edge I'm going to be leaving. But you can definitely get on the Quad Edge. We'll be having the podcast, the articles, and everything out this week. Kyle, let me throw it to you one more time. I know you're putting out all your bets. We'll have Bet My Bookie as our official sponsor. You can get on there with Brews and make your bets. So where can everyone find your bets again?
Mainly just follow me on Twitter at BigMarley3. I post links to everything there, but MMA Odds Breaker, DFS Army, covers, best fight picks. I'm all over the place.
Yeah, this guy is all over the place. So again, buy his picks this week. Come on over to us and Bet My Bookie. Get on the bookie and use code Bruce so we get a little love out of that too. And then everybody will be feeling good this week. CG, any locks in your parlay? Definitely locking into this parlay.
So you guys already broke down the fight before I joined, but one person I really like on this card is Camacho. I think Camacho should win a striking-based decision against Nick Hein, and I might parlay him with Rakic.
Yeah. And
what did you guys think about that fight, real quick?
All of us were basically on on Camacho. I think Kyle, I can't remember what you said about Camacho in that fight, but the one thing that
striking based fight volume.
Yeah, probably
just don't gas out.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. Ty brought it up, and I mentioned it too. His last fight at 155, he went in at 160. I believe that was against. I have it written down. I can't.
Was that Hadzovic?
That was because Dober was forced to do like a 160 weigh-in thing.
No, but it was another one that was.
I think it was versus Neil.
No, Neil was a one.
No.
I thought
Yeah, Neil.
It wasn't Hadzovic?
No, Damian Brown. The Damian Brown fight, it was 155, and he weighed in at 160.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the fight. All right, so that's Brews and Bets for this week. Good luck, guys, with your bets.
Thank you for watching, everyone. Be sure to follow us at Jersey Boys MMA on all forms of social media. This is the producer, Devin. We really hope that you enjoyed the show. Please stay tuned for more Brews and Bets content.